My name is Queen. I'm the trainer for today's section, and we are going to be starting with introduction to data analytics. Now, this is a topic that I am so glad every time I'm being called upon to handle it, because it helps beginners get it right from the goal. From the very first step, you get it right, because there is a lot of information out there for the analyst, out there for newbies that are looking at transitioning or starting off a career in the field of data. And it becomes so much overwhelming. Now, this section is to give you clarity to all the information you have been gathering, both the one you have been seeing online or this. This section is meant to give you clarity for beginners. Then this section, for those that are already in the field, is more or less going to give you like, okay, what are the other career paths with the skill I've gotten? What are the things I can be able to do? And for those that are already experts in the field, fantastic. We get to share what's one or two things to those starting off. So for me personally, this is a particular section I am very, very excited to have with you all. I'm always excited to have this section. I don't know if any one of you is kind of excited, because I'm kind of charged up this evening. I could guarantee that it's going to be a learning section for each and every one of us. A lot of information is going to be shared, and many will go home or end this call knowing one or two things that they don't know before. That is one thing I can guarantee. Please, please, I always like my sections to be interactive. So at some point, I might ask you to give a reaction. That is the only way I could know that you all are following. This is not a physical section. So for me to be certain that you are not sleeping somewhere else, you are not dozing off, or you are not cooking indomie. So please, the only way I could get to know those information is to ask you all on an interval, if you can hear me, give a reaction and thus. So if you have a comment or some questions, please drop it on the chat box. At the end of the section, we are going to have the time to tackle those questions. And this is the first class we are having. We are treating introduction to data analytics. By the next session we'll be having is going to be us getting our hands dirty with data and doing one or two things with Excel. So I'm going to get started now because we don't have much time. All right, so I would like to start with asking the question now. How many of you, you are scared, or when you want to look into data analytics, people are telling you that, oh, it involves mathematics, it involves statistics, and you are scared that, can I be able to do this? This involves mathematics, this involves statistics. Is this something I can be able to do? How many of you have this kind of feeling? You are just scared because it's data and it involves mathematics. If you have those feelings, you are kind of scared, please give a reaction. Please give a reaction. How many of you have those feeling like, okay, it's mathematics is going to be overwhelming? All right, I see you, Moses. Now, I have a good news for you all. And that is one thing that people don't know, is that most of us, in fact, every one of us has been analyzing. On a day-to-day basis, we all conduct what? Analytics. We analyze data. Now, what people don't understand is that the introduction of tools like Excel, Power BI, SQL, Python, Looker Studio, Tableau are just there to make the analysis much, much seamless. But we are all have been analyzing from the very beginning. So yes, you have to have some little knowledge in mathematics. You have to have some little knowledge in statistics. But I want you to just know today that you all have been analyzing. And now you ask me how. Now, we are in a new month, and there are some of us here that has, a lot of cash to spend, that will buy things in bulk. We buy what we want to spend for the month in bulk. Now, if you fall into this category, you don't just go to market and start buying a bag of rice, give me a bag of beans, give me this, give me that. What do you do as a reasonable human being? You write down what you want to buy. And what are you writing down? You are comparing what you have. That means the stock at home. Okay, I still have 2 pints of rice at home. So for the month of April, I need like total of 5 paints to sustain me. So I need to get extra 3 paints. You write it 3 paints. Now you look at it again. Okay, I want to buy Milo. I've exhausted the one I have. And for the month of April, I need to get 1 sachet of Milo, 1 sachet of milk. You write it down. Then at the end of the day, by the time you get to the market, you are looking at your list and you'll be able to get exactly what you want. And that is what? That is you being a data analyst at that moment. Because you are able to make that decision based on the data that you have. You look at the stock you have at home, that is a data. You look at the stock, things that you need to get in the market. You do your scale of reference. What are the important things you need to get in the market? You have that data. You look at the money you have at hand. What can it buy with the current price of things? Then you bring it up together. You do what? You solve your problem. So that is you doing what? Data analytics. That is you analyzing a data. Now, next tomorrow is Sunday. And many of us will want to go to church and you want to prep for church. Now, what will you do? You look at, okay, what am I going to buy? What am I going to wear? Okay, I wore this last week or I wore this last 2 weeks. I can't wear it again. Okay, am I trekking to church? Should I wear heel? Should I go on a sneaker? Oh, if it now rains that day, everything changes. If the road to your church is not good, you will start considering, and you're not going with car, that means you're not mobile, you start considering, oh, if I trek now and I'm wearing a white trouser, it's going to change that. These are data. And you're beginning to analyze because of what you want to come up with, or to solve a problem that you are having. You are tracing a pattern, you are making prediction, and you are trying to do what? You are trying to solve what? A problem. So these are the basic things we do on a daily basis. I'm just using this real life scenario to actually explain what data analytics is all about, and to tell you all that we have been using this, we have been doing this. But introduction like tools like Excel, Power BI, Python, Tableau, and the rest are just here to make it much more seamless, because at this point, we are in a generation whereby we are dealing with a lot of data. Some people say that data is the new oil. So we are dealing with what? A lot of data. You like on social media, you retweet, you comment, those are data. Now you need to do what? You need to have, or you need to be equipped with some tools that could help you run those analysis perfectly. And that is where analytics tools come in. But data analytics is what we all have been looking at our day-to-day basis. You try to do 1 or 2 calculations, you reference on what you know, you predict on what it might look like. You want to go out, you are looking like, okay, what will I wear today? You look at the weather, it's kind of sunny. That means you're looking at to put on something what's light. If you look at the weather, it's kind of a little bit cloudy, you are predicting that it's going to rain. That is analysis. And because of that, you might just go out having a cardigan at your back, or at your bag rather. So in case of if it eventually rains, you have something to cover up the cold. That is what data analysis. Please, can you move to the next slide? Now, the major purpose of data analytics, what is the major goal of an analyst, is to do what? Is to solve business problem. Is to solve what? Business problem. That is the major thing you are doing as what? As an analyst. If an organization employ you to work, they are employing you to work because of what? Because of the skill that you possess to help them do what? To help them solve the problem they are having in terms of what? In terms of their businesses. So as a data analyst, you know that you are what? You're a problem solver. You are a fixer. You provide solution, you solve what? You solve what? You solve what? You solve problems. On to the next slide. Now, we are going to look at what problem solving is. They say in data analysis, it involves using a systematical approach to identify and solve problems using data. It means the process of identifying, analyzing, and resolving challenges or obstacles to achieve what? A desired outcome or goal. Now, there's something I want you to take note here. They say that it involves a systematical approach. So what I mean by systematical approach in this point is more or less like a step-to-step approach. If you want to solve a problem, yes, but there is a step for you to do what? To solve your what? Problem. So solving problem in data is not just trying to just enter it anyhow. There is a systematical approach for you to do what? For you to solve your problem. That means there is a step-to-step guide for you to do what? For you to solve your problem, especially in cases relating to what? Relating to data. Now, I don't know how many of you are fan of Nigerian movie. If you're a fan of Nigerian movie, if you're a fan of Bollywood movie, no, Nigerian movie and Hollywood. That means you watch a lot of Nigerian movie and you watch a lot of Hollywood. Please give a thumbs up, give a reaction. Give a reaction. Now, if you are looking at this, if you look at the way, let's take a scenario that investigation of a death case. Let's say you have you're watching a Nollywood movie, and you have a situation whereby, let's say the people in the residential area, maybe a resident apartment, a tenant was found dead. And they call on what? A Nigerian police officer or the Nigerian police to come and intervene. Now, sometimes they could come up somehow. Please, if you're a military person, pardon me, please. This is just for explanation. Now, the approach you will take is going to be different. If it is a case involving what? In a Hollywood movie, they died at 911 and they report what? A case of what? Death. You could see that the first thing that they will do if the police people arrive in that vicinity is to use what? Is to use their yellow tape to tape that vicinity so that unauthorized persons can't come in there to tamper with the evidence. Now, after they are done with that, what will they do? They will start asking questions. Asking people what is happening. Okay, what happened? They try to get what people's witnesses' statements. Now, after they are done with that, they run some forensic text and try to do what? Try to look at the CCTV cameras and every other thing. Before they will now communicate to the public or to the family that this is what happened. This is an approach. Now, if you're talking about doing what? Solving a problem, there should be an approach to it. Now, it can be what? The first approach for you to do what? Is to define the problem. Let's move to the next slide. Please move to the next slide. Now, the first thing is there are steps towards to solving what? To solving problems. Now, the first thing is what? You define what? You define the problem. This involves understanding the concept, the data available, and the desired outcome. Now, as a data analyst, you are meant to ask questions at all times. You are meant to do what? You are meant to ask questions at all time. That question will help you get clarity or help you define the problem that you are trying to solve. Let's take, for instance, that you run a supermarket or you are being employed to work as a data analyst in a supermarket. And they kind of employed you because they have a situation at hand, which is what? They're experiencing a decline in sales of what? In one of the departments. Let's say the fresh produce department. So if I'm talking about fresh produce, I'm talking about, let's say, fresh fruits and all of vegetables, they are what? Fresh products. Now, they now call you in as an analyst. Okay, we are experiencing a decline in this. And we need you to what? To help us find out what is actually wrong. Now, them telling you that that the issue they are having is that they want to understand the reason behind the decline in the sales of the fresh produce section, and what you identifying the strategies to improve it. That is them defining the problem. Now, you already know as an analyst that your major concern is with what? With the fresh produce. At that moment, you are not actually looking at the entire supermarket, what they made last year versus what they made this year, or what they made last month versus what they are making this month. That is not what you are looking. You are defining your problem. And you are being told on what to do to find out the reason behind what decline in sales in fresh produce. So one of the steps, or the first major step, is solving a problem, is that defining the problem. You have to understand what's the problem. You have to know what you are trying to work on. Now, after you are done with that, you are looking at collecting and cleaning your data. Now, this involves identifying and removing any irrelevant or inaccurate data and making sure that your data is properly formatted for analysis. Now, after the supermarket have told you that they want to find out why there's a decline in what in their fresh produce. Now you are going to collect data. Now you are collecting data based on what? Based on the relevant thing you are doing, which is what? Based on the relevant fresh fruit what departments. You are not just handling what? All the whole data. You are looking at what? Fresh what? Produce. So you need to do what? You first what? Collect the data. Get the relevant data that you want. Now, most of the times, these data you get are not clean. They are in the raw state, in the raw form. So you have to clean this data. So when we're talking about data cleaning, that is you trying to remove the inconsistency in this data. There are a lot of inconsistency that we'll be talking about. Some can be that they have null, maybe empty rows, empty columns, maybe names are not spelled correctly. Maybe the fruit's name are not even spelled correctly. So you start looking at those data, and you try to do what? You will try to clean those data. Now, after you have cleaned the data, what will you do? You will try to do what? To explore the data. Now you try to look at to identify what? If there is a pattern. Now this could involve you analyzing what? Doing more or less like sales trend over time. Now comparing what? It might be you comparing the performance across what? Across products or categories. Maybe after, let's assume with the case of the supermarket, maybe after you have done your analysis, you will now find out that it's not like the supermarket, the fresh fruit is actually selling low, but there are some particular fruits that are not selling. Maybe you will find out that when we get mango from Mr. A, it does not sell. Maybe the mango from Mr. A always rotten quick. So it makes customers not to patronize or come back again to patronize after what? After their first buy. So this is you trying to explore what? Explore the data. Now analyzing the data, that is the fourth phase, which is what? Based on the insight gained from exploring what? Exploring the data, you can perform what? More or less like what? Correlation analysis. You can see yourself trying to do what? Data modeling, trying to write some advanced what or some that is data analysis expression. Trying to dive deep into what? Into the data to get what? To get more insights. Next slide. Now, the fifth one is what? Developing what?
Sorry, please, can you come back again to the analyzing the data? It's...
Which part one? Which part, please?
The analyzing the data.
Okay. Now, yes, I said something. Now, the analyzing the data is you diving deeper into what? Into the analysis. Now, it might require you writing some DAT calculation, which is what? Data analytics expression. You might see yourself trying to write some major what? Functions here, some major formulas. And you might see yourself building what? Trying to look at what? Relationship. Going deep into what? Data modeling. That is another topic on its own in data analytics, data modeling. Trying to what? Build up what? Relationship. Okay, we have a customer data set. We have what? An order data set. Now we are looking at what? Which customer is ordering what? Which what? Product. Trying to look at what? Relationship that could help you do what? Address what? The problem we are having. Are we clear on this? Are we clear? Someone asked a question. I need your feedback. All right.
Yes, I'm clear now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Now we are looking at what? Providing solutions. Now, based on the findings from the what? From the analysis. Now, what are you doing? You are going to provide what? Solutions. And this might involve you doing what? Using what? Visualization to communicate the results. Now, you have a large data set that you have worked on, and you are able to get that the total sales is 10,000 naira. Now, you need to do what? To visualize it. because your stakeholders or your executive might not have time to go through the raw data. That is why they have you. So you are going to visualize what this data. It might be you using a line chart to visualize what the trend of sales. How the sales have been happening in terms of what months. From January to December 2024. You can visualize it. Now you are not just visualizing it, you are communicating to them. You are what? You are communicating to what? To them. That is why I always tell people that insight is always something that is valuable in the data space. As an analyst, you must do what? You must give your what? You must do your what? Your visualization and what? Your insights. From this data you have worked on, this is what I found. From this supermarket sales data I worked on, I found out that mango is selling at the highest. Or I found out that apple is selling at the highest. Or I found out that when we buy cashew nut from vendor A, it sells more than what when we get from what vendor B. So this is you trying to what great visuals, trying to communicate what you have found and what, try to tell them what to do. Now, I always tell people there is room for what? Recommendation. Now you have identified a problem. So what do you think is the possible solutions? What do you think we should do? What we should do? It is not enough you have told us that, okay, this particular department is making more sales than this particular department. Okay, you as an analyst, what do you suggest we do? You need to be able to give what? To give recommendations. You need to be able to give recommendations. That is why, as a data analyst, while working on your portfolio, you are trying to document your process or the steps you took in solving a problem, that is a project that you worked on. You are trying to write what? Your documentation. You must give an insight. You must give what? A recommendation. That is what is developing solutions and implementing and monitoring the solutions. So even though you have given them a solution, there is need for you to ask them from time to time, how is it going? Okay, you suggest to them to change from the vendor they are buying the fresh food. They should change from vendor A, since vendor A is not selling, to change to vendor B. Now you need to also follow up on them, get the data from vendor B, so that you will know that the solutions you kind of offer to them that they implemented, is it actually working out? Get the data again, look at it. Okay, since we started buying from vendor B, there has been what? An improvement. Or since we started buying from vendor B, we are still experiencing the same thing. You can now look at it and look at, okay, maybe the problem now is not even with the vendor. Maybe other people that are selling the same fresh food that we are selling at a lower rate. They are selling at a lower rate than what we are selling. So you give what? You give an insight. You give what? You write your recommendation, and there are room for you to actually do what? Monitor it and know what is happening. Yes, as a data analyst, you're a technical guy, but there are room for you to monitor what is happening, because at the end of the day, remember why you are there. You are there to solve what? To solve problem. So the end goal for an analyst is not for you to design a beautiful dashboard. That is fantastic. But dashboard comes what? The last, is one of the last phase. A lot of things is happening, which is what? With your analysis, generally. Your data cleaning, was it done correct? Your analysis, was it done correct? Your data modeling, was it done correct? Your visualization, was it done correct? The dashboard and the visualization is towards what? Towards the what? Towards the end part. And you need to make sure that all of these are very, very, like, you pay attention to them, especially your data cleaning phase. That is what we are looking at. Look, we'll be looking at introduction to data analytics today. The next session will be talking about Excel and working on a dashboard with what? With Excel. All right. So now let's move over to the next one. We have been talking about data. What is this data? I want two people to give me their own or should I say their own understanding of what data is all about. I just need two people to unmute and just give me their own understanding about data. Two people. I'm still waiting. Like I told you all, I want these sections to be interactive.
I think data is. Good evening, everyone.
Good
My name is
evening.
Mubarak.
Welcome.
Data is a raw and processed fact.
Okay. Okay,
It could
thank
be
you.
numbers, it could be alphabets.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Mubarak. Thank you so much. All right, now I need a lady. I need a lady. Mubarak has spoken for the guys.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Chekube.
My name is Chekube. So a data can be someone's personal information, like their name, where they worked, when they retired, and stuff.
All right.
Yes. Their
Thank
year
you
of
so
death
much.
and every other thing. Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Chekube. Thank you so much, Mubarak. Thank you. I love your contribution. You both are what? You both are correct. Now let's look at it. Let's move on to the next slide. Let's look at it. All right. The next slide, please. Okay. Now they say that data is a collection of facts. It can be a set of qualitative and quantitative variables. It is an information in raw or unorganized form. Now, it may be fact, figure, character, symbol, etc. Data exists in various forms in human mind. Now, one thing you need to know is that data must not be a number. That is one mistake that people make. That is why in the beginning I told you all that we all have been analyzing. Data must not be what? Must not be a number. Data can be a figure. Data can be a character. Data can be a symbol. Now, if you're in the traffic light and you see red, it's already telling you that you have to stop. Nobody is telling you stop, but that is a data that has been stored in your mind. Now you see an apple that is beaten half in a device. It's already telling you that this is what? An Apple device. It is a data. So data must not be when it is a number, that is when it is a data. No, it must not be a number. It can be a character, it can be a symbol, it can be a fact. You go online, you retweet, that is data. You like a picture, what? That is what? That is data. The mistake most people make is that they assume that data must be what? Data must be what? Data must be what? A number. It can be a character, it can be a symbol, it can be a figure. All the things that happens on social media is what? Data. Your like, your comment, your post. That is why if you get to platform like what? Instagram, you come to your what? To your profile, you are seeing the number of posts that you have. Once people like a picture, you are seeing the number of likes. Instagram is tracking that. You are seeing the number of comments on a particular post. Instagram is doing what? Is tracking what? Is tracking that. That is what? That is data. It is not a number, but that is what? It is data. Now, when you're talking about data, data can be what? They say it's a set of what? Qualitative or quantitative variable. Now, once you're talking about qualitative variable, they are known as what? Categorical variable. So it's more or less like talking about characters that cannot be measured. Qualitative variable is talking about characters that cannot be measured. If I ask you now, what is your nationality? You will say what? Nigeria. You say you are what? You're a Nigerian. It cannot what? It cannot be measured. If I ask you, what is your marital status? It's either you are what? You are single or married. Nothing like complicated. That is what? That is something that cannot be what? Measured. What is your gender? Male, female. It is something that cannot be measured. So when we are talking about this, we are talking about the qualitative variable. Now we have the what? The quantitative variable. That means it represents what? Quantities or numeric measurement that can be measured or count. If I ask the number of people in this call, that can be measured. If I ask you the number of siblings you have, that can be measured. If I ask you the number of colleagues you have, you can give me what? You can give me a number. So that is why we call it what? Quantitative variable. Now, the next terminology you might experience when working with data is what? Data set. That is something that is very, very common. Data what? Data set. Now, they say that data set is a collection of data that can be manipulated or analyzed as one unit. Now, I'm going to use this to explain what a data set is. Now, Chekube said something when talking about data. She said something that a data, you can have your name, you can have your phone number, email, your information stored. Now, I'm going to use this to explain this in a layman way, the way you all can understand what a data set is all about. Now, we all are in this class. We are all present for this master class. Now, let's say now we have a data for this what? For this master class. Now, the data include the name, Mubarak. It includes Mubarak phone number. It includes Mubarak gender. That means Mubarak is what? The first attendant. Mubarak. Now, we might have Chekube coming at the next row. We might have Abigail coming second. We might have what? Patience coming what? Fourth. Now, this is the list of the people in this class. It contains what? Their detail. Maybe how many hours they spent, how many times they spent, and the rest. So that alone, that data alone, a collection of that data is what we call data sets. I can decide to analyze it as what? As a unit, as its own. Now, I might take Mubarak attendance in today's section. Then the next section we are meeting on the 14th, I take Mubarak what? Attendance. Likewise, the same thing as all of you. I might decide to analyze it to know who what? To know who attend both days. That means the both section for what? Data analytics. I might decide to analyze it to know who attend what? Day 1 and did not attend what? Day 2. That collection of this data that contains the information of the people in this class is what? Is data set. Now, the other one is what? Database. They say a collection of data stored in a computer system. That is what? That is a database. Now, let's look at this from this angle. Now, let's say Studio 3 has what? Has a database. Now, they have the attendance of the students. The people that actually came for this section, they have it as what? As a data set. Now, they might have another data set for the instructors that actually teach or actually handle the master class. They have a data set for instructors. So it contains instructors' name, instructor phone numbers, the topic they taught for each day, the duration they spent in class. That is what? That is another data set. Then if we now gather this data set and now come and store it in what? Somewhere, that place we are storing it is what? Is a database. And it's going to be what? Studio 3 what? Database. So in this database, you have what? Data sets. We have the data set for students. We have the data set for what? For the what? For the instructors. So a database is a collection of what? Data stored. So inside the database, you have what? You have a data set. Please, what I've been saying so far, is it clear? Give a reaction if you have been following what I've been saying so far.
Yes, it's clear.
Any question so far? Any question? All right. So I believe at the end of this class, you can confidently explain to someone what data is all about. For those thinking that data is just a number, you prove it to them that data is more than a number. You understand what data set is, you understand what database is, because you are going to be, this is something that you'll be dealing with. By the time you enter properly into the practical aspect of it, they will say, okay, this is a data set, work on this data set. Now, database, you are going to experience it when you dive into what? Into SQL parts. Because the introduction of database is because most organizations have what, or most companies have grown in terms of what? In terms of size. Now, Spreadsheets like what? Like Excel can no longer handle most of this organization what? Data. There's a maximum number of rows that a spreadsheet can handle, and there's a maximum number of columns that a spreadsheet can handle. So what companies started looking for? Companies started looking for an alternative. That is why most companies move to what? Move to database. So that is it. Now we are looking at what kinds of what data. Now in kinds of data, we are talking about structured data, unstructured data, and semi-structured data. We are going to take it one after the other. Now, structured data refers to a data that is organized or stored in a predefined format with clear categories, rows, and columns. Now, a very good example of a structured data is what? Is a spreadsheet. Now, as a data analyst, most data you'll be dealing with are structured data. Unstructured data and semi-structured data, we have to pass through the data engineers. Now, as an analyst, majority of the time you are dealing with what? Structured data. That means you have your data in a predefined format. It has rows and columns. It is being imputed in Excel. It is being imputed in CSV file or in a database. Now it is structured, it is organized, it is stored. But unstructured data are those data that does not have a predefined structure or format. Like those social media posts, videos, images, they are not structured. They have to pass through some process to be structured. Now we have the semi-structured data. Now the semi-structured data is more or less like a blend of what is structured data and what unstructured data. It's in the middle. Now a very good example of this I can say is, let's take for instance your CV. Now in CV we have every CV has what? A name. Your name, your email will always come first. But that is what? Structure. But the unstructured part comes in the what? In a format whereby some people, their skills might come first, other people, their certification might come first, while for another person, their job history will come what? Will come first. Another example again is if you are trying to send out an email. Every email must always have what? Email address. It must always have what? Email address. That is structure. But the unstructured part is what? Is the body of the what? Email. The information can always what? Might not be the same. The arrangement will not always be the same. But just know it as an analyst, you'll be dealing with what? You'll be dealing with what? Structured data. Let's move to the next slide. Now we have talked about structured data, we have talked about unstructured data, and we have talked about what? Semi-structured what? Data. Let's move. Okay. Now let's look at data analytics. Now let's look at what analytics is all about. Now they say that analytics is the discovery, interpretation, and communication of meaningful patterns in data and applying those patterns towards effective decision making. I'm going to take this again. This is very important. They say that what? Analytics is the discovery, interpretation, and communication of meaningful patterns in data and applying those patterns towards what? Effective decision making. Now, there are some major things I want you to note here. One is what? They say that what is the discovery. That is one. Second is what? Interpretation. Now, two is what? Communication. The third one is what? Communication. Now, let's say, for instance, that you are sick. Now, what happened? You wake up in the morning and you notice that, okay, I'm feeling feverish. My temperature is high. You have discovered something. You discover what? You discovered something. So what happened? You get to the medical center, hospital. What will they do? They will start to run what? some text on you. They will try to look at, okay, this person said what? This person is having these symptoms or that symptoms. They will look at your medical history. They will look at the test result to do what? To diagnose you and understand the nature of your condition. After they are done with what happens? Communication. Now they're not going to do what? Tell you, okay, from what we have done so far, we understood that you have what? We found out that you have what? Malaria. We found out that you have what? Typhoid. And this is what you need to do. You need to get to the pharmacy, buy this drug, and take. Now, let me bring it into something interesting. Now, during 2020 or 2021, when COVID-19 hit Nigeria. Now, from the news I had, I didn't know how true it is. It was from someone, a Thailand man entering into Nigeria through the Murtala Muhammad airport. Now, when he got there, he got into the medical department. They started noticing some things. They discovered that this man is having some symptoms. Then after discovering that this man is having some unusual symptoms, they tried to analyze it, to look at those symptoms, to try to interpret what is happening there. They now notice that there is a pattern to this. This is looking like the pattern of what? The pattern of coronavirus. Once they are able to diagnose that, okay, this man is a coronavirus patient, what did they do? They communicated with what? With Nigerians. They now start telling us, wear your face mask, stay 5 feet away from somebody, use hand sanitizer, wash your hands regularly. We don't want a gathering of more than 10 or 15 people. That is discovery, that is interpretation, that is what? Communication. So when we are talking about analytics, it involves what? The discovery, interpretation, and communication of meaningful pattern. Now let's bring it into what? Data analytics. Now they say that data analytics is the art and science of collecting data, cleaning, analyzing, and visualizing data to extract what? Valuable insights. Collecting, cleaning, analyzing data to get what? Valuable insights. Now, when we are talking about data analytics, one thing is certain, you are collecting your data from somewhere. If it is a sales data, you are getting it from the sales department. If it is a customer data, you are getting your customer data from the customer department. There is what? There is collecting. And after collecting, we are dealing with what? Cleaning. Those data you collected are not what? Are in the raw states. So there is tendency that they are not clean. There is tendency that you are having a lot of errors. Inconsistency in terms of name. It might be phone number error. It might be an empty row. Now you clean it. Now the next one is what? Analyzing. You try to do write some complex calculations there. What is the total sales gotten? What is the gross profit? Then after that, you try to visualize what we have. You try to visualize what you have. You have to communicate it. You use images, you use graphics. Use images to communicate what you have done, bar charts, column charts, line charts, and all of it. Now, there is this constant debate of the difference between data analytics and data analysis. There is this constant debate between data analytics and data analysis. And the truth is that they are quite similar. If it is data analytics, at the end of the day, you are called a data analyst. But now, what is the major difference? Now, data analytics is a broader scope. It is more or less like a big picture here. Analysis comes under analytics. Analysis comes under what? Comes under analytics. Now, in analysis, or let's say now, let me put it this way. Let's use this minor explanation. Now, Analytics might involve you going to market, buying food stuff, cooking. That is analytics. Why analysis is just you coming to do what? To taste the food, which is part of what? Which is also part of the process. Now, before you will finish working on a particular data, there is possibility that you have gone through these two phases. There is possibility that you have gone what? You have gone through what? These two phases. Now, some people trying to lean analytics more into a type of what? A type of analytics that involve what? Predictive. Predictive what? Predictive what? Analytics. You are trying to, you are not just with normal analysis, people can be looking at descriptive analysis. That means, okay, what happened? What happened? You are trying to look at historical data. What happened last year? What happened last month? Analysis. Analytics might be broader because it might inquire you. You are not just looking at what happened last month. You are also looking at what will also happen in the next 2 months. That is why, in a simple explanation, analytics is more or less like a broader scope that comes in, and you have what? Analysis under it. So analytics is more like an umbrella housing what? Analysis. And before you finish what? The entire thing that you are doing, you will see yourself doing both. Like I said, with analysis, you might just be looking at what happened last month. But with analytics, you are not just looking at what happened last month. You are looking at what can happen in 2 months' time. So that is what? A broader scope. Okay. Now they said that once a data is organized, it becomes what? It becomes an information that enables what? Decision making. It becomes an information that enables what? Decision making. Let's move over to the next one. Okay, the next slide. Okay, now we are looking at type of what? Analytics. Now, no, go back, please. Go back. Please go back. Okay, now we are looking at type of what? Analytics. We have descriptive, we have diagnostic analytics, we have predictive and prescriptive. We are going to take it one after the other. Now, if you are looking at descriptive analysis, what are we talking about? It answers the question, what happened? Now, it helps you understand, or it helps organization understand their historical data. What has happened before? It focuses primarily on what? On summarizing the data to provide insight to it. Now, you might ask to, let's say you are a salesperson or you're a businessman running a day-to-day business. At the end of today, you calculate what you sold. That is what you are doing at that point, is descriptive analysis, because it has happened. You are looking at what? At a historical what? Data. It has happened what? In the past. Now, if you're talking about the diagnostic analytics, we are trying to answer the question, what caused it? That means you are trying to investigate something that is currently happening. Let's say you are a data analyst and you work with the development team, maybe the product development team, and they notice that what? That currently there is a decrease in the number of orders coming through what? Coming through their website. Maybe they understood now that, okay, now people no longer order during what? Using what? The website. So they not need your services what? As a data analyst to find out what caused this. Maybe by the time you will look at the data of the customer feedback, the user's behavior pattern, you might not notice that maybe at some point that there is technical glitch, or the user experience is not what? Is not nice. Maybe the user experience is not what? It's not nice. It's not really guiding the users through the entire what? Website. Maybe if they come to the point whereby they will now order, you will now find out that if they are clicking, the button is not clicking. So diagnostic analysis, you are trying to answer the question, what caused it? Why is this happening? Now we have the predictive analytics. What is expected to happen? Focusing on forecasting what? Future outcome or invest by examining historical data and pattern, which helps the company to make well-informed decisions and proactive action based on projection. Now, if you are looking at predictive, look at the ways are predictive. You are trying to predict. That is what you see all these online gaming platform, Sportybet, they are trying to do what they are trying to employ there is what predictive analytics. They are trying to predict what will happen. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with platforms like YouTube, Netflix, Prime. You will notice that if you watch one horror movie, by the time you will join, you will come into platforms like Netflix again. Netflix will start predicting, will start giving you more options of what horror movies to watch. What is happening there is a combination of what predictive and prescriptive analysis. Now, prescriptive analysis is action. What action should be taken? Now, after they have predicted what you will like, they go ahead to prescribe from what they have seen you have liked so far. This is what we might see you liking again. There was a time I experienced this. I noticed that when I log into platforms like Instagram, maybe I watched one online food and I liked it. Before I start noticing what is happening, Instagram algorithm will do its work. I will now be seeing a lot of what? Chef, cooking. At first, when I don't have a proper understanding of data and what it entails, I was thinking whether Instagram is reading my mind because I'm hungry. Why am I seeing food? Because I've just liked one. It was now I now understood that it works with what algorithm. They looked at my previous data and found out that I've liked one or two what food vlog or made a comment. What happens? It will start giving me that, recommending that. It is a combination of what predictive analysis and prescriptive analysis. Predictive, from your previous data, they are predictive what will happen. Now, the prescriptive is what they are trying to do. From what they have seen so far, these are now coming with suggestion of what can happen. I don't know if how many of you have tried to make transfer to a bank. Maybe you are using USSD, you are trying to make a transfer to a bank, and you will notice something. Maybe normally you always do transfer of 20,000, and now you want to do transfer of 30,000 at once. The machine learning, the banking system I've used is going to detect that something is abnormal here. They are going to predict that this is not the normal way it always happens. They will now try to ask you some certain question to, some security question. Let us have your date of birth or things like that. Because they have predicted from your past, from your historical data, a pattern they see is a pattern of 20K. Now, why this 100K at once? You go to YouTube, you watch one Nigerian movie, you join again, you are seeing them giving you what? Recommending some Nigerian movie. What is happening there is a combination of predictive and prescriptive. They have looked at your data. It looks as if this person likes what? Ruth Kadiri. Because you like Ruth Kadiri movie, okay, there is possibility that you like what? Uche Nancy movie. So this is what they're able to do that because of what? Because of they have data. Now let's move to the next slide. What I've been saying so far, please, is it clear? Next slide. What I've been saying so far, are you all following with me? All right.
Yes.
All right. Now, what is the importance of data analytics? I've said so many things, but I want you all to, I want like two people from what they have understood so far in data. What do you think that, why is data analytics important? I just need two people, one male, one female, please. We're already at 6 o'clock, so I wouldn't want to take much of our time again. Just one male, one female. What do you understand? Or why is data analytics important?
For data analysis, I'll be coming in from the aspect of business here.
Okay.
I would say for businesses, it helps predict what the market is going to like. I would say what the trend is
Okay. Okay. That's a very good one. That's a very good one. Thank you so much, Mubarak. I love the fact that you are very interactive. You are communicating properly. Thank you so much. So who is helping the ladies? Who is helping the ladies? Shenwa, are you saying something? I can't hear you.
Data analytics, it helps for an organization, it helps them to know and understand their historical performance. It also helps them to know data of, for instance, if it is pensioners, data of pensioners that are on payroll, those that are on payroll, those that are not on payroll. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Shekube and Mubarak. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to take it up from here. You all are correct. The answers you gave are quite fantastic. Now we are going to look at something here. Now, data can help enhance customers' experience. It can help enhance what? Customers' experience. That is one major thing data can do. Now, have you taken a scenario whereby you buy food, you walk into a booker store, you buy food, you purchase, and you go. Then it's a different thing when you use platform like Glovo to order your food or Chowdeck to order your food. Chowdeck has your data. Now, if Chowdeck is having what? Promo, or a particular vendor on Chowdeck is running promo, what will they do? They will send you a notification. At the end of the day, what are they doing? They're enhancing your experience. Now, you can be able not just to patronize on a normal day, but you can be able to patronize what? Patronize when there is what? When there is a discount running. At that point, you are what? Saving money. Look at this situation of what? Netflix. Because Netflix already have your what? Your data in the past of the kind of movies you like to watch. You're a fan of what? Comedy. You watch a lot of what? Comedy movies. Now, by the time you are joining Netflix again, Netflix is doing what? Netflix is showing you what? Other comedy movie that you have watched. What are they doing? They are enhancing your what? Your experience. You might not have to now go through scrolling a lot of just to get the movie, the kind of movie that you want. You go to things like Apple Store, iTunes rather, iTunes and AudioMac. Then they look at, because you like Wizkid song, there's possibility you will like what? Davido song. They will recommend it and be like, okay, this person is a fan of what? Afro music. They're going to do what? They're not going to recommend more of it for you. Even in the development team, a data analyst have a role to play. Because they want to develop a product, they don't even know their market. You can be in a situation whereby you can wear many hats. They will tell you as a data analyst, so yeah, do a little bit of minor research. Send out a questionnaire. We want to build this product. We want to know if there's a market for it. Send out a questionnaire, get a data. Then from that, your data, analyze it and tell us what it looks like. Let's know what we are dealing with here. That is if you find yourself in the development team. It can help organization make informed decision. No organization in this modern age wants to make any business decision based on what? Based on assumption. They want to have what? They need a data to back it up. They need They need a data to do what? To back it up. Now, that is how data can help us in in a lot of ways. Now, you see some banking people reaching out to you for what? For you to borrow money, and they are telling you the amount of money you can borrow or the max you can borrow. Is because of what? Because they have your data. So these are one of the things what data can do for us. Next slide. Now, what I want to discuss next is the opportunities in data analytics. Now, we have come to that era whereby it is no longer, if you're looking for a job, you're not just looking for an analyst role. There are a lot of things. You're not just looking for a data analyst role. As a data analyst, you have what? You have a space in what? In the health sector. You can work as a health analyst. You can work as an operational analyst. You can work as a supply chain analyst. You can work as a revenue assurance analyst. You can work as a business intelligence analyst. Now, the first thing I tell people is that particular field that you are currently in. Let's say you are in a situation whereby you find yourself, maybe from your background, you are coming from the health sector. Maybe you did anatomy, physiology, you are a pharmacist or thereabouts. You can lean more into what? Health analyst, sorry. You can lean more into what? Becoming a health analyst. And one thing is certain is that if an organization is looking to employ someone to become a health analyst, they are always going to consider someone that have experience or some form of background in the health space. Because that is the only way you can familiarize yourself with the terminologies. But that does not mean that someone that is coming from the finance aspect cannot become a health analyst. But you just see yourself being intentional about it. Now, the kind of data set you might be working on, or the kind of project you might be working on, will be both projects relating to health. So by the time you are being given an interview opportunity, you can be able to sell yourself, even though you are not coming from the health aspect, you can be able to sell yourself as a health analyst with the knowledge you have gathered so far. So don't go through an analytics program. By the time you are done with the program, you are looking for a data analyst role. No, there is more you can do. Now, this is you niching down, having a specialization. There are some people that I know that they have some personal beef with finance data. And there are some people that I know that don't like about business data. Anything has to do with business, sales, historical data, they are in it. There are some people that love HR, data. Now, this is you trying to do trying to niche down. But one thing is common among all these people. There are tools you need to know how to use. You need to know how to use Excel. You need to know how to use Power BI. You need to know how to use SQL. These are three most popular tools for an analyst. Excel will allow you to do play with functions. Clean your data, store your data. Power BI is majorly used for data visualization, doing some level of data modeling. SQL will enable you to do to query your database. It's a structural query language. So what does it do? It helps you query your database. So for you to hit your chest and say that you are the very best in the field of analytics, you must know how to use these tools. There are several tools, but these are the most major ones that you always see an organization ask for, especially Excel, because of it is one of the oldest tools out there. So by the time we come for our next section, we are going to be working on a project with Excel. So if you don't have Excel yet in your system, please try and get one installed. The best version is 2021. That is the best one. But try and get Excel installed. By the time we'll come to the next section, we are going to work on a project, do data cleaning, use pivot table, try to use some functions, and at the end of the day, come up with a beautiful dashboard. And this is something we are going to do in 1 hour or an hour, 30 minutes. Now you are going to know how to do how to work on how to work with data. If a data is given to you, how do you look upon the data? How do you look at those data or that data? What are the things you are going to consider? So by the next section, we are looking at a lot more into the practical aspect of it. Now, this is done today so that those that are new, we also have an idea of what it is, because a lot of information is flying out there. Now, this will just give you a brief, like an overview of what it is. There are more to this. By the time we'll start the program properly, we'll have a slide detailing most of this thing properly. But by the next section, I want to see all of you here. We are going to look at visualizing a data set using using Excel. All right, thank you so much, each and every one of you that are here. So I don't know if we have a question at this point. I want to take in questions at this point. You can unmute yourself and ask questions.
Thank you very much for it. That was very, very insightful, engaging, and very interactive. I mean, everybody learned a lot. This is your time to ask questions. I mean, just okay, we'll have okay, you're clapping. Yeah, cool. If you have any questions, please do it on it and speak right now.
So this is the part you ask question or you give your own comments on what has been shared or the information I've shared so far. Chekube, Mubarak, any questions so far?
Hi.
You can actually write on the comments section. If you can't, maybe where you are is a little bit noisy, you can't ask, you can just drop your question. I will take it from there.
So I would want to know, because I've been hearing some things relating to data analysis and data science. Can I just simply hear from you what the connection between both of them actually is? And you talked about SQL, using Microsoft Access to, would I say, query your data? Is that technically under SQL too? Just asking. Thank you.
Using Microsoft what?
Access.
When we're talking about SQL, there are lots of structural query language there. So Microsoft have its own SQL server. So the access is not fully it. So they have what Microsoft SQL server. They have Postgres. They have Oracle. There are several SQL platforms. Now, most of it are similar. That means if you understand how to use, let's say the Postgres, now if you get to Microsoft's SQL server, they share some level of similarities. All right. Now, regarding the question with what data science and analytics, one major thing is common is that they use data. But with data science, you are trying to build models. That is where supervised and unsupervised learning comes into place. You are going to be heavy into what? Statistics, not just analytics. You are going to be heavy into what? Statistics. Building what? Building, trying to work with what? Machine learning. Working with what? Algorithm at this point. Now, you look at platforms like ChatGPT and the likes. Data science has a major role to play there because some level of information has been given to what? Given to this AI. So data science is more or less like a wider scope. And if you're someone that likes to code, you likes to code very, very, very well, you can lean into the part of what? Data science. Because at that point, you are trying to develop what? You are trying to what? Build what? Predictive models and develop some algorithm to build what? To build system. So that is where we have what we call the supervised learning and the what? Unsupervised learning. So data science, you are working with what? Machine learning, trying to build what? Build what? Predictive models. Something that could predict something that can happen with this information given. This can actually happen. You are building what? A model. Do you get that, Mubarak? You are building a model with when we are talking about data science.
Yes,
So
I understand.
yes, so at the end of the day as a data scientist, you can have a career path in what? In machine learning engineer. So analytics is to data science, analytics are just the babies. Thank you so much for that. I hope we are on the same page now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
All right, all right. Any other question? I want questions. I want comments. I want... Use the comment box. Use anything. You can unmute.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. I mean, I just want to remind everyone, yeah, Aisha Deni saying thank you very much for the session. We're glad you were able to enjoy this. And patients, drop the form on the chats, please. That form is to, record our attendance, because we're keeping records of everybody who attended, especially for if you have from the masterclass series group. Please ensure that you're filling that form. It is very, very important for us to be able to know one, track. This is data analytics class. You understand how important it is for us to be able to track all those numbers and assign numbers to get feedback from you. So we can also create that leaderboard. And at the same time, I saw, okay, Mubarak already asked this question, but the way he structured it in the chat, he was trying to compare data analysis and data analytics, not data science actually. So, I'm not sure if we could touch that so as well.
Okay, I actually touched that during the section. Mubarak, do you want me to still go over it again? Or you got it when I explained?
Yes, I would love for you to go over it again.
Okay, now I said something. I said, between these two things, data analytics is a broader scope. It's like an umbrella housing what? Analysis. Analytics is like an umbrella housing what? Housing analysis. Now, for analysis, you might see yourself doing heavily into what? Looking at data that has been in the previous, trying to look at it and analyze one or two things. But analytics, you are going way beyond it. A little bit of predicting has to do what? Has to come into what? Has to come into play there. So with analysis, you are looking at what? Looking at data to find what? Useful information. Maybe what product sold the most and the rest. You are trying to look at data to find out what? Useful information. But analytics is a bigger picture. Now, it includes everything in what? Everything you do in what? In what? Everything you do with what? With data. And if it includes everything you do with data, you'll find out that most of the things you are doing in what you did in analysis, it comes under what? Analytics. Now, with analytics, you are doing not just trying to find out what? Trying to get information from a data. You are doing what? Data collecting, data cleaning, analyzing, decision making. So in just a simple explanation, analytics houses what? Analysis. And before you will finish working in an entire what? In a particular data, you'll find out that you have done both. Because you are not just trying to get a useful information from that data, which is analysis. You are also trying to do what? To do what? Data collecting, data cleaning, analyzing, and what? Making what? Informed decision. Now, let's say, I said something earlier, that let's say you want to cook soup. Analytics is you going to the market, buying food stuff, coming home, adding Maggi, pepper to cook it. Analysis might you just having a taste of that food. So you see, before you be done with what? With the analytics, you have also incorporated what? Analysis into what you have done. Are we good? It can be confusing at times, but this is just a simple way to just what? To just understanding. Gradually, as you proceed into the class, things are going to unfold what's clearer to you one by one. But are we good so far, Mubarak?
Yes, ma, we're fine.
All right. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Yeah, thank you very much, Queen, for attending to that. We have one last question, or I guess we have one more question on the chat. So he says, can a data analyst work in any sector at all, or you have to stick with a sector you are very familiar with?
All right. Okay, just to answer that question, Moses, a data analyst, you can virtually work in what? In any sector. That is the truth. Because data is being generated everywhere. You can work anywhere. But you can have an edge if you are actually working in a sector that you are familiar with. You can have an edge. But that does not limit you to just one sector. As a data analyst, you can work what? You can work anywhere, any sector at all. All right, Moses. So I have an assignment for you all. So how many of you on this call are familiar with a platform called Medium? If you're familiar with a platform called Medium, please raise your hand or drop a comment if you're familiar with a platform called Medium. Now, the first thing we are going to do is we are going to write an article using the Medium platform, and you can publish it. In the next 2 minutes, I'm going to show you how to go about Medium. And once we end this section, I'm going to give the assignment to Imam so he can share that with you all. I'm expecting most of you to do that. So do the assignment, publish your work, talk about it on social media platform. You can tag Studio 3. You can also tag what? You can also tag me. Now, please, Imam, can you stop sharing? Let me quickly share. All right. Okay. So please, Medium might not be something that is familiar to most of you, but please, it is something that you might need to know as a data analyst, because that is where most people do their documentation. Most people do their documentation on what Medium platform. So it is a very simple app for you to do what to interact with. So the first thing you will do is you can come to Google and type Medium. Come to Google and type Medium. Now it's going to give you this. So you can sign into Medium just like the way you are signing into other platforms using your Google or your email or whatsoever. So just sign in. So this is mine. Once you sign in, come to the place that have what? Write. Now you can write. Now, this is one thing about you knowing this Medium is that you can document your project here. Once you know how to use this platform, you can document your project. Now, once you document your project, you have a link. Once you are sharing it with organization or sharing your project with organization, you are just copying the link of your Medium and attach it to your what? To your CV. That is all you need to do. Medium is very simple. Use the Google, come into what? Sign in as what? Using Google form, your Gmail and the rest. Sign in using that. Then this is what it will look like. Now I'm going to give you people a topic that you are going to write about. Now, the best thing I advise you to do is make research. As an analyst, you must know how to make research. Avoid using AI. People don't use AI in a smart way. Avoid using AI. Go online, look for topics relating to topic I'm going to share with you or read. The more you are reading, the more you are understanding better, even things that we have done. Once you are done reading, jot down some important things that you need. Once you are done jotting it down, you can use AI like Grammarly, post it there. It will structure out the language for you, or your spellings rather, not the language, to structure out your spellings for you, and everything will be what? Will be good. So this is title. Let's say the title is Data is the New Oil. This is the title. Now you come here, you can write. You can click on this to insert what? Image. You can get image from Unsplash. You can also get image from your system. Once you are done with it, click on this publish. Now, once you publish that, you get the what? The link. Look at the link here. Drop it what? Drop it on the avenue that will be provided for you to submit your what? To submit your assignment. Please do not overlook this assignment. If possible, share it in what? Share it on the
Sorry, please.
WhatsApp.
Sorry
Yes, I
for
can hear you.
interrupting.
It's
The
fine.
network was a bit bad. If you notice, we left for some time. MTN was a bit bad. It was
Okay.
fluctuating. So we didn't get even what the data analytics tools were, because that was where we stopped.
Is it just you or everybody? Imam, can you confirm if it is just her or everybody?
Actually
Chakwebe, I
happened to
think
me
that.
too. I was
Wait,
actually logging out.
wait. If you're
Imam, I can hear
saying, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
I mean, I'll be hearing you clearly. I mean, so far so good. So, I mean, maybe a few
Coming
persons,
back, logging out,
Moses
coming
and,
back.
sorry, Moses, what did you say? Okay, I think it's just Moses and Chikwebe. But now the best or the
No, I said it.
sweet.
Actually,
Okay, okay. The sweet thing is we are recording this session, so we would upload. I mean, what she was just trying to explain. Maybe if we just give like a very, very brief recap within 2 minutes. But right now, what she's kind of explaining is the task that she's given as an assignment. It's a pretty chilled, simple task. I've given you the mic back, quick.
Okay. Okay, Chekube. So just like he said, you're going to have access to the recording, so you can watch that. So what I'm talking about now is the tasks that you are to do. So I said I'm going to share the topic with Imam. So you all are to make research on it. Don't use AI. Avoid using chat, DeepSeek, or any other AI. Don't use it. Use Google, make a research, read, consume information. Then from that, write your own article on the topic I'm going to give to you all, but strictly submit with Medium. No PowerPoint, no Google Docs or the rest. Use Medium. Now, why are we using Medium? Medium is a writing platform that even data analysts use it to do what? To document what? Their projects. So use that to write it. So I tried showing you all how to set up Medium. I said it's pretty simple. You can log in using your what? Using your Gmail or your Google account. Set it up, then come to write, click on it. You are going to have an option to do what? To write. You can insert image and the rest. I'm also going to share a 5 minutes or less than a 10 minutes video with Imam so that I can share with you people regarding YouTube on how to do that. So first of all, what the topic I'm going to give to you, make a research, write it out. Once you are done writing it out, then you can put it on AI platforms like Grammarly. Then you can now post it on what? Copy it and post it on what? On the Medium. Use what? Add images just to beautify your work. Now post the link, copy the link, publish your work, copy the link, share it. Now you can tell people to read what you wrote and all of it. That is you building in the public. That is you building. No need of you to do this assignment and just leave it. You have to learn to build in the public if you really want to go fast in what in your tech career as an analyst or any tech field you are interested in, you need to learn how to build in the world public. So this is one way to start out from it. And once this call ends, I'm going to be sharing the information with Iman. He can share on the group that you people are, and every other thing. Please, are we good? Are we all good?
Yes, we are fine. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Iman. You can have the mic.
All right, that was a very beautiful one. Thank you very much. Thank you. I mean, everybody enjoyed it. I wish, okay, I mean, I think you can react on Zoom. You could just, I mean, there's a love heart button that says react. Just put up any reaction, thumbs up, clap, anything, how you feel, the vibes. This is tada. So, I mean, just to show how you're feeling. And thank you very much as well, Queen. This was very, very informative. I can't wait to start to get hands on the actual practical class. And everybody has access to the calendar. I mean, if you registered for the program, and obviously that's why you're here. If you check your calendar just before this call, some persons who were not able to add the calendar or add the calendar manually or automatically from their own end, I manually from my own end added you to the calendar. So if you just view your calendar on Google Calendar, all you just have to do is go to that section that says my calendar. I use this through 3 Launchpad Masterclass series. Just click on it and you'll see all the classes. So and you'll be updated with all the time, and we'll send you more information via email as well. So yeah, please communicate any information that you need or any inquiry or concerns on the group. And thank you very much, everyone. And with this, I would say, please make sure to fill in the attendance again. Hold up before I end this. Where's the chat? Let me quickly bring up the form again, just so that we are sure that everybody's seen it and you actually filled it. It's a pretty simple chilled form. All you just have to do is fill it with your name, email. Why I'm putting that is for us to be able to track. So yes, thank you very much, everyone. And please do enjoy the rest of your day. We have another session tomorrow, which is for backend engineers. Again, if you are interested in that, if you just want to join to come and vibe, feel free. If that's not what you want, just hit up those guys that you know that are backend engineers who are interested in backend engineers, and give them a nudge to also join the class tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.